Good morning, guys. I am doing my Monday personal study. Every Monday, I try to come in and read through the text I'm going to preach and get some information on it and just start to marinate in it. And this week, I'm doing our second vision and values, and it's multicultural congregation. I decided to preach from Matthew 28, the Great Commission, because it says that we should make disciples of all the nations, and that's pretty multicultural, right? But something stood out to me in the context that was pretty significant. Like it kind of breaks my heart, but it's true, and it kind of gives some hope. So I wanted to share it with you. If you go back 2 verses before what most people preach is the Great Commission, to verse 16 and then read to 17, there's something interesting. Let me give you some more context. So Jesus has been crucified. Jesus is risen. And in Matthew, the picture we get is not that the disciples get to talk to Jesus as much as it is the Marys that came to take care of his body. And he sent a message to the disciples through the Marys, a message he had already given a couple chapters back in 26 at the Lord's Supper. He said that they were going to have to meet him in Galilee. Apparently, what we don't have is that he told them a specific mountain in Galilee to meet at. And he told the Marys the mountain too. And so when the Marys tell the disciples, it says this: "But the 11 disciples proceeded to Galilee, to the mountain which Jesus had designated. When they saw him, they worshiped him, but some were doubtful." Now, I'm still in observation stage of my research, so I'm asking a lot of questions of the text. I want to know what they were doubting. Were they doubting Jesus was God? Were they doubting that they were seeing him? Were they doubting that he was the Messiah? What were they doubting? I don't know. But what I do know is while they were worshiping, they were doubting. And if they were sitting there with him worshiping him, because he speaks to him in the very next verse, if they're worshiping and know that he's there or he's coming, or at least believe it, you'd think that they would have like full faith, right? Because he's appeared to people. But they don't have full faith. Instead, they're able to obey. That's what they do in 16. They proceed to Galilee, to the mountain which Jesus had designated. They obey him. They go where he's supposed to go while doubting. And they worship him while doubting. So that is crazy. That means that if you have ever obeyed God while doubting that Jesus is risen or Jesus is who he said he was, like that doesn't mean he cast you out. He still sent him on mission. And he'll help you with your doubt. But if the disciples who knew him best were able to doubt, think of what that means for us who haven't even seen him. What about worshiping? Like some weeks you might go to worship and you might not feel like you're really connected to God, or your faith is 100%. You know there's some doubt. You know there's some struggle. You know there's some hardship in your mind, in your heart, in your affections. Things are just off. You can still go do that. And it's not that Jesus is just going to throw you away or trash you. Instead, he gives us a job anyway. That's the kind of God that we have. He knows our deficiencies. He knows what lacks in us. Matter of fact, he called the disciples earlier, ye of little faith, or you of little faith. But he says all that you need is a little faith. Just a little. And it'll grow. He'll help it grow. He'll continue to prove faithful. So if all you got is a little bit of faith and you got a whole lot of doubt, cling to the little bit of faith you have. Go and obey. Go and worship. And let him direct you and guide you and grow your faith. Hope that blesses you the way that it blessed me.